My name is Anna Baubock, and I'm the editor of the Global Green Guide at the Legal 500. And I'm joined here today by Alberto Ninio, General Counsel at Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank, who's kindly agreed to share some of his thoughts on all things sustainability, ESG, and net zero from an in-house perspective. So very excited to have him here today. Albert, would you maybe like to just introduce yourself briefly before I delve in with some of my questions?
Thank you very much, Anna. It's a pleasure to be with you and colleagues and watching this video. I have taken over as a General Counsel of AIIB in January this year. Before that, I was Deputy General Counsel at the World Bank, Deputy General Counsel at Vale Mining Company, where I also served as the Global Director for Sustainability. So I was very happy to be here.
Perfect. So obviously you'll be very suited to tell us a little bit more about all of that. And my first question that I would like to kick off with is, what do you actually see as your role as a general counsel when it comes to achieving net zero targets?
Basically a few roles. One, and the general role is really to push the organization in the right direction, to be Paris aligned, to serve the countries that are members of AIIB in a way that is consistent with their obligations under public international law. So that's the general remit, to ensure that the organization is aligned with, with Paris alignment and climate change goals. We also have our own goals here. I help to develop those goals. We have our policies here that apply to infrastructure projects that we finance. And then there is the role of, trying to shepherd and nurture the culture of the organization to be a culture that is also more coherent with the overall climate change goals.
Brilliant, thank you. And maybe more specifically, what are some of the steps that you are actually taking to help steer your company to achieving those targets?
First of all, as General Counsel, I am responsible for also overseeing the way that the policies of the bank are being prepared, implemented, evaluated. So I help in putting together those building blocks, under the policy, and the policy that will be applicable to our development projects. So the bank finances projects in the public and the private sector arena. Some of the countries that we operate, don't have fully developed legislation when it comes to climate change. So what we do is to apply our own policy, our own goals to those projects. And those projects could be brownfield, greenfield, roads, energy, water, and they all can be very good, climate goals. So when we don't see an immediate, glaring way of, applying these projects under the local legislation, we try to push, by using our own policy. So it is an effort. It is a collective effort. But the lawyers that work with me, they are quite aware that's something that we need to do.
Yeah, brilliant. Okay, so in your experience, do you consider ESG policies to be more of an opportunity, or maybe also a risk, and why?
It's a great question, and I think it's a question. It's one that has been we all been trying to answer for the past at least year and a half since the term came about. I do see as an opportunity, and I think that even if we are not quite there yet with all the projects that we have, with all the borrows that we have, I see as an opportunity to do what is right, to elevate the standards of what we finance. The risk is there, but the risk is that it pushes to do the right thing, and the risk of walk the walk and not only walk the talk and walk the talk as well. So that's something that for me is very important. People talk about the risk of committing. You need to commit what you need to do, and there's a lot that needs to be done in the three areas: environment, social, and governance. Now, mind you that for those that have been in this business for a very long time, like myself, almost 30 years, it's almost like, old wine in a new bottle, ESG. We have seen all of that, with different names. The latest name that came to my mind is CSR, for example. There's no really distinct difference. For me, the difference is in the implementation. How are we going to organize ourselves to have the capacity, to have the finance, and to have, really the attitude, the fortitude to implement it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's really the attitude that has changed and the implementation, hasn't it? Maybe since the Paris Agreement, would you say, or maybe even more recently? It definitely seems to be much more trendy and on top of people's minds now. Would you agree?
I agree. I think you had a very good momentum with Paris Agreement. You had a good momentum with Larry Fink letter from BlackRock. We all talk about that in the financial sector. But also, I think that the pandemic has invited humanity for a very deep reflection of what we want to do with our planet. Maybe we had a little bit more time. Maybe we, realized that we are all, very fragile. So I think it's a good opportunity to reflect on and renew our values and our commitments.
Yeah. Brilliant. So one last question for you, and thank you so much for your time. What, in your opinion, are some of the key points to ensure sustainability both helps your company reach net zero, but also contributes to your economic success as well?
Well, as we said before, I think the overall commitment to do it is very important. The second thing I believe is to have, the right policy and requirements, so the company, no matter where the company operates, it can follow, that very clear, set of guidelines. Third is to have the people to do it, qualified people, qualified lawyers in my case, but qualified people to do it. And finally, to put, sufficient resources to implement it. So a lot of the companies, have, these beautiful slogans. We talk a lot about greenwashing, but you need to have, the resources to do it. And the very final point I want to make is that it's okay to make mistakes, but if you make mistakes, recognize that and try to rectify as soon as possible. Don't try, to simply, sweep under the rug or say that, or diminish the importance. Admit immediately and try to do better next time. I think the public and the media will recognize that as something that is the right thing to do.
That sounds like a really good motto going forward. Yeah. Thank you so much, Albert. That was really, really interesting. Thank you for your insights and for your time. Really good to speak to you.
Very good. Thank you so much for the opportunity, and I hope to be in touch in different occasions.